Got it. Do you, Tim Walz, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that you will discharge faithfully your duties as governor to the best of your judgment and ability, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations, sir.
Helps to be a teacher to remember the nieces and nephews' names. So a lot of them. So. As a small-town kid turned soldier, football coach, teacher, husband, and dad, never did I envision before that I would be here and standing as your Minnesota's 41st governor. I know, and neither did you believe that. So, but thank you all for being here. This inaugural ceremony is a public acceptance of our legal and moral responsibility to this great state, a clear recognition of the privilege that we've been given by the people of Minnesota to do our very best to further our state's magnificent legacy. To those of you who voted for me, thank you for your trust. For the Minnesotans who voted for someone else, like a gentleman I met on a cold Friday night last month at a listening session in Fergus Falls, who came up and told me, I didn't vote for you, Tim, and I don't agree with a lot of your positions, but I don't want you to fail. What can I do to help? To that gentleman, and all Minnesotans, I'll work hard to earn your trust and be your governor too. Thank you to Chief Justice Gilday and to our judicial branch for the work you do. And thank you to our constitutional officers. It is an absolute honor to stand here with all of you, so thank you. And to Lieutenant Governor, oh, that is wonderful. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your vision. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your friendship. And thank you for making Minnesota proud. Chimiguch. To Senator Klobuchar, Congresswoman McCollum, Congressman Nolan, Congressman Maloney from New York, and this is fun to say now, Congresswoman Craig. Those of you of a certain age, don't tell me you're not thinking The Muppet Show in any way here. So, thank you. To our Minnesota legislators, thank you for being here today. Thank you for your service to the people of Minnesota. I honor those election certificates you worked so hard to earn. And as a former legislator, I understand very clearly what the term co-equal branches of government means, so thank you for being here. Thank you, Governor Dayton. I believe that when history tells Mark's story, his lasting legacy will be that he put people first, always, above politics, before himself. Because of that, he clearly left us a better Minnesota, and we are in your debt. A thank you to my wife, Gwen, Minnesota's First Lady. Minnesota's First Lady, but she's my best friend and true partner. She's the one who makes everything possible, so thank you, Gwen. I love you dearly. To the light of my life, my wonderful kids, Hope and Gus, thank you for all of you doing your patience. Gus made sure this line was in there. Yes, the puppy's coming. Puppy's coming. So, to the rest of what you saw, my incredible extended family. A special thank you to my sister-in-law, Julie Walz, and her children, Jake and Avery. Your dad would be proud of you, and I am. So thank you for that. To all that family, a special thank you to my incredible father and mother-in-law, Val and Lynn Whipple, for the work that they do. So, you all know that old saying, behind every governor is an astonished mother-in-law. So, Lynn, thank you for that. So, and Lynn, mother Vera is here too, and I think for all of us to understand and listen to the incredible legacy of this state, Vera was born in the year that women acquired the right to vote, and so it's wonderful to have her here. And to my mom, Darlene Walz. Thank you, Mom, for everything you've done. Thank you especially for showing me what real strength looks like. I love you. And to those of you who walked in this theater with me, teachers of mine, teachers I worked with, students I've taught, and all of the educators in this room, please stand up as we say thank you to you. "36 years ago to the day, Governor Rudy Perpich also asked the teachers in the room to rise during his swearing-in ceremony at Hibbing High School. I'm honored to recognize educators again today. Thank you. We find ourselves at a time when economic, social, racial, and geographic division feels rampant. I will not normalize behavior that seeks to deepen or exploit these divides. I will not normalize policies that are not normals, ones that undermine our decency and respect. If Washington won't lead, Minnesota will. There's a temptation to see these times as unprecedented, to see our current challenges as insurmountable. As a history teacher, I found it instructive to look back at past inaugural speeches to see how other incoming governors portrayed the situations facing them. In 1955, Governor Orville Freeman painted a picture of a society in intense crisis, besieged by the struggle between freedom and totalitarianism that was raging around the world. In 1971, Governor Wendy Anderson spoke about how health care costs were too much or not even available to some. He described a housing shortage in which the average young couple in Minnesota couldn't ever dream of buying a home. And in 1979, Governor Al Quie expressed concern about discrimination in our state. Governor Quie urged the legislature to take action to eliminate discrimination in all forms and to open opportunities for women, people of color, the poor, those with disability, and the elderly. Governor Quie is with us today. And in 2011, Governor Mark Dayton described how education system was failing our students and thus failing our future. It strengthens my resolve to know that those who came before me, on whose shoulders I stand, faced difficult challenges, many similar to those we face today. My predecessors tackled those problems they faced, and working together with the legislature, they made progress. Because of that progress, our state enjoys one of the best education systems in the country, one of the best healthcare systems in the country, and perhaps the best quality of life in the country. But we can and must do more. Old ways of doing things must be updated. New solutions must be found for new problems. We must continue to aim higher, reach further, and build brighter futures for all people of this great state. Foundational to our past, present, and future is the quality of our people, and that all begins with education. Every student in Minnesota deserves the opportunity to learn in the best schools in the country with caring, qualified teachers. But as I traveled around this state, I see how the quality of a student's education is often far too dependent on their race or their zip code. A few weeks ago, I met a grandmother who lives with deep anxiety. Her fear is that her grandchild living in La Crescent won't receive the same opportunities or have as bright a future as her grandchild in Woodbury because of inequities in education. Disparities in our educational system based on geography, race, or economic status hold back not only our students, but our entire state from reaching its full potential. That's why we must dedicate ourselves now, that we must make Minnesota the education state for all children, black, white, brown, indigenous. That starts with our shared values, the values we hold in common for the common good. Our state has a proud tradition of valuing the power of education. We must recommit ourselves to this Minnesota value. If we are going to foster the best education system in the country, every politician, every community, and every Minnesotan must value our children receiving the highest quality of education we can give them. This means starting by valuing teachers, by valuing our principals, by valuing our mentors, by valuing our paraprofessionals, by valuing our bus drivers, and of course, by valuing every single student. In sum, it means valuing the greatest of American institutions, public education. Minnesota, let's recognize those simple truths. Education is the great equalizer of our society. Education unleashes untapped potential. Education conjures the magic of a promising beginnings and the grace of second chances. Putting a young child on a yellow bus to pre-kindergarten in St. Cloud prevents that same child later in life from riding a bus to prison in Stillwater. Some of these truths are inspiring, others are uncomfortable. But they all lead us back to one of our core beliefs as Minnesotans, that every single child deserves and will get that quality education. Today, we also reaffirm our Minnesota value that healthcare is a basic human right. I have to tell you, though, what Minnesotans want from healthcare is pretty simple. First of all, they don't want to get sick. Secondly, if they do, they want to get quality healthcare that doesn't break the bank for them. For far too many, that simple request is not easy. As Minnesotans, we can figure out how to deliver healthcare more effectively, more affordably, and with better results. We can and must ensure that every Minnesotan has access to high quality and affordable healthcare. But it won't stop there of just getting our folks health care. We will invest in our cutting-edge research institution and partner with our state's healthcare industry to ensure that the cure for the world's most devastating diseases come right through Minnesota. This past year, I was given the incredible privilege of crisscrossing our entire state, visiting hundreds of communities. What became absolutely and abundantly clear is that prosperity and opportunity for all people in all parts of our state stems from the well-being of those individual communities. We must ensure that communities across Minnesota aren't just surviving, but they're thriving. We must ensure equity in everything we do, from addressing the absolutely unacceptable racial disparities in our state to ensuring that opportunity is not determined by your zip code. Right now, whether you're from the urban east side of St. Paul or a rural town of Madelia in southern Minnesota, many young people are leaving their communities because they don't see a future or an opportunity in them. Many times they leave, but like so many of us, they feel the tug on their heartstrings to get close to home. They want to be near family, and they want to contribute to the community that raised them. These are exactly the people that we want back in their Minnesota communities, yet they have to overcome great barriers to do so. Just a few weeks ago, a young mother in Halleck told me that she almost gave up on her effort to move back home after struggling for months to find affordable housing and childcare. Those were the two things stopping her from reaching that dream to going back to that wonderful community that she was raised. Investing in infrastructure, increasing access to quality housing, expanding options for affordable childcare, protecting the right to collectively bargain for a pathway to the middle class, and giving the local leaders the tools they need to succeed. It will take meaningful, sustained action to foster vibrant communities across Minnesota where families want to settle down and raise their children. And we will do this work through the lens of One Minnesota, because we all know if Mankato thrives, Moorhead thrives, and if Rondo thrives, the Range thrives. There's no doubt about it. We face some tremendous challenges in coming years. I'm not Pollyannish. Those of you who know me in here, I'm an optimist, but I also supervised the lunchroom for 20 years, so I'm a realist. We know these things are out there, but we don't look towards them with fear. Our economy is changing. Healthcare costs are still soaring. Even our climate is unstable, causing devastating weather events. But we must face these challenges with the quiet confidence that can only be found in Minnesota, with bipartisan pragmatism and a humble determination to lead in the bold North. When our state has faced equally big challenges in the past, we've always met them with a unique, innovative spirit that allowed us to not only fix the problems, but to lead the nation. We must again find opportunities in these challenges. Instead of burying our head in the sand when it comes to climate change or to providing affordable quality health care or housing and good-paying jobs, we must take them head on. But we can only do this if we come together. We've done it before. One Minnesota is not something new. In 1955, in that inaugural address, Governor Orville Freeman implored Minnesotans to pray for the courage, energy, and wisdom to meet together the great challenges of our times. He said, working together, Minnesota cannot fail. In 1983, Governor Rudy Perpich said, we are one people in Minnesota, not a people divided by regions or speech patterns. In 2003, Governor Tim Pawlenty spoke of the Minnesota way, defined by our beautiful, bountiful land, our incredible people, and a tremendous spirit of innovation. And in 2011, Governor Mark Dayton said, our differences cannot be permitted to blind us to the larger truth that we are one Minnesota. As many of you know, and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan will tell you, if you know me for 5 minutes, I will talk to you about high school football coaching. I did it for many years. I have a high regard for what competition can bring on the football field. But governing is not a sporting contest with opposing teams, each wanting to defeat the other. It's not a horse race nor a poker game to see who can best beat the other. It's about working together, finding common solutions to improve people's lives. It's not sport, it's governance and democracy, and when we come together, we can tackle these problems. There is unity in our traditions, our ancestors, from the original Anishinaabe and Dakota people. the first people, you honor us with your presence. And those that came after, the immigrant farmers, they carved out a way of life in this unforgiving cold. I've seen our ability to pull together firsthand as a soldier in the Minnesota National Guard. Time and again, as I was deployed to areas where families worked together to rebuild their communities devastated by flood, tornado, or fire. One Minnesota's in our blood. It is born of our shared values. It's sewn into the fabrics of our communities. It is driven by the collective good and fueled by our innovation. No matter how daunting the challenge, no matter how dark the times, Minnesotans have always risen up by coming together. Our blood saved the Union at Gettysburg. Our iron forged the tanks that liberated Europe. Our farmers sparked the green revolution that fed the world, and our imagination transformed medicine. One Minnesota is who we are. We need to foster it together. Because this is a state, and no matter what the times or the challenges, from all of the past coming down to the responsibility that falls on us today, this is not a state that fears the future. We create the future. Let's get creating, Minnesota. Thank you.